We had the big sell-off on Friday just before the 3-day weekend. That again coming on the back of not only starting, and I think this was the key, Nvidia earnings showed a crack. The data center revenue for Nvidia missed by a fraction. Everything else was golden, but it opened that small crack that when Marvell Technologies, MRVL is the symbol on that, when they reported bad earnings in the same sector, that opened the wound. And then you throw in the Alibaba news on Friday where they developed or are developing their own AI chip that should rival Nvidia's, and the floodgates began on Friday, and that has just continued into this morning. First trading day of September, markets are in free fall. S&P is down more than 1% on the day. NASDAQ is down over 1.5%. The key trend lines we've been watching are on the border line of breaking. And if they do break and confirm, we should see a significant decline here in the near term. Flipping over to the daily chart, let's go to the daily S&P. And what were we watching here, folks? Here is your wedge pattern with a 1, 2, 3, 4 hit of the trend line. We know the fourth hit was a 50-50 chance of breaking. As we know, it did not. The question is, where are we going to be opening today? Based on the S&P, we will be opening at or below the trend line. The big question remains, where will we close today? Looking at the NASDAQ here, you can see same thing, free fall to the downside. One of the things we know, look at this, 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits, 4 hits. The fifth hit, which we hit on Friday, was a 60% chance of breaking. Look at where we're trading pre-market. We're way below that line. So again, the NASDAQ looks like, unless it stages a miraculous recovery today, the NASDAQ will break the trend line. Then we start watching for confirmation to confirm the breakdown. We talked about this literally 3 weeks ago, saying that when this trend line breaks, you need to be on high alert. It breaks, and then it goes up. And the bulls start to say, oh, no, this is just continuing up. This is what happens. You get the initial break, then the mentality is buy the dip. It floats up, but the trend line has been broken. And ultimately, look, Nvidia trading now below $170. And there is support here. But if we break this, you'll head down. I think we touch probably at least 167 today. There's a gap fill here. And I'll be monitoring for a day trade 164.10 for a day trade long on Nvidia. And by the way, I'm a trader, so just keep that in mind, is that there will be days where we're down significantly and I'm going long intraday. And there'll be days where we're up significantly and I'll be going short intraday. It's about the levels, the probabilities at those levels. And again, my job is to convey that to you. So watch that one. Definitely, there might be a high-risk trade around 167, this gap fill. But a long trade for a day trade at 164 and change looks very, very good. Ultimately, you guys know, I said last week, in fact, this is the same trend line that I showed last week. Where do I think Nvidia is going in the near term? Back to 153. Because that is the former scene of the crime. That was your all-time high from 2024. It makes sense that you break out and you retrace. Do you guys see how this is? Basically, I'm using the same mentality here with this trend line. Here we broke down and we retraced, and now we're coming back down. Here we broke out, and now you're retracing here. It's just using that same thought process over and over and over again, and not trying to reinvent a wheel. You're just looking at the charts, understanding human mentality, psychology, and how charts work. When they break these key levels, they get a little bit of a move, then they retrace, then they get the bigger move. And so here you had the breakout. Now we're getting the retrace, and then we'll have to see, does that then catapult Nvidia to new all-time highs, or does it bounce and form a bear flag? The big one here, the SMH. The SMH, we have this head and shoulders pattern. Look at this, shoulder, head, and shoulder. Guess where we're trading today? Look at where we are pre-market. We're right at the neckline. This is epic, because if you break here and you trigger the head and shoulders, which is about at 282.30, we'll call it, if you close below that, it does open the door for a move down, a measured move on the SMH, the semiconductors, to, let's do a measured move here. If we break right there, today would be right there, we'd be looking at 260. So another, from current levels, about $23 more to the downside. That's if we get a close below, let's call 282. So we'll watch that very, very closely today, but that would insinuate more downside near term on Nvidia. Now let's turn our attention to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, again, is basically flat on the day. I did see some little bit of hints of a safe haven trade in Bitcoin earlier today, with it was bouncing up. Notice how it's not down today, even though the stock market is down pretty substantially. So there might be a little bit of safe haven action going on here, but I'm still not buying the full safe haven. If the markets dump significantly and keep dumping, it's going to drag Bitcoin down. I'm waiting patiently for a pierce of 100,000. I will be looking to play it as a swing trade long, especially if we come into that level in the next few days. Quickly looking at ETH. ETH again, guys, continues to be relatively strong here comparatively to Bitcoin. The key on ETH is, can it hold the 4,075 level right here? If it breaks that, it should trade to about 38.75. But again, in all fairness, ETH continues to look relatively strong.
Want the full playbook? Watch the full episode on its Verified Investing YouTube channel. No hype, just high probability levels and real strategy. Subscribe while you're there.